Overwatch 2, could this be, well, kind of the thing that Overwatch needs? Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Salosa and I'm joined by the magnificent...
One amongst many. Hello, yes, I'm here as well. Overwatch 2. Oh, it's on the horizon. Oh, it's exciting as well. We don't know what it is, Sty. Are you ready for some speculation? I am. I love speculation.
Well, we think it's Overwatch 2, right? So this is all based off the leak from Kotaku a while ago, but what I've been thinking about here, and basically the leak, guys, is just this. It just says Overwatch 2, both of which are expected to be Blizzard's marquee announcements this year at BlizzCon, which obviously the bit before that is Diablo 4, and that Overwatch 2, or whatever it winds up being called, it'll have a large PvE element. A couple of Blizzard people have compared it to Left 4 Dead. So that's essentially all we've got to go off. Now, there are some facts here. Last year's BlizzCon was abysmally bad. Also, there was no Blizzard presence at Gamescom. Now, Gamescom is, I want to call it the largest gaming expo in the world, but I think one in China beat it recently, but it's very close to that one. Loads of people go there. It's massive. If any of you guys have been there, you know it's massive. There was no Blizzard presence there. Now, Blizzard, I mean, me and you, Josh, we've been there loads of times, haven't we? The size of the hall that Blizzard get is massive. Like, they take over, like, literally half of one of the massive arena things. It's crazy. Anyway, what are they doing? This is the big question, right? Now, I remember, Josh, when this leak came out, everybody started making videos on it. Overwatch 2 leaked, Overwatch 2 blah, 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 Overwatch 2 Left 4 Dead. We don't know if that's true or not. And at the time, I was like, wow, this actually seems quite annoying, right? Overwatch had no role queue. It had a lot of issues with the game. It still has issues with the game. Oh, hell, we don't have role queue right now because it's just not available. Well, it is, but competitive's broke. But you know what I'm saying, guys. Anyway, all these issues with the game, and I felt like it'd be a bit of a slap in the face if they just rolled up and went, hey, by the way, here's Overwatch 2. Forget about Overwatch. We're just going straight into Overwatch 2. But as time's gone on, Josh, I'm starting to think that maybe I just want a clean slate. Maybe I want to start again. I don't know. It's really weird.
Like, it's a big opportunity, right? That's the sort of way you got to look at it. It's a huge opportunity for them to go into the game and change a bunch of stuff and just go, yeah, it's Overwatch 2, guys. We can do like all this cool stuff and we can make it work better. We can change how healing works. We can change how barriers work. We can change how damage works, and we can make all this stuff balance better. We can do it all at once, and it won't feel quite as like slow progression because, well, if we just do it all as Overwatch 2.0, and the reason why I say 2.0 is very important because Blizzard have done this before with a little-known game called Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm. Poor Heroes of the Storm. It had a similar thing, right? Although it was a slightly different, I suppose, because this feels like it's got more content built around it, like they're building something for Overwatch 2, or just something extra for Overwatch, and it's sort of become Overwatch 2 over time. With Heroes of the Storm 2, it was like a complete UI overhaul. It was just like the progression changed, how you unlock stuff changed, there's tons of new cosmetics and stuff, but the gameplay didn't really change much. So this is sort of where I am at with Overwatch 2 in general, is like, are they going to go in and change the gameplay, or are they just going to like bolt on some new stuff, maybe change how loot boxes work before the government shuts them down or something, who knows, and then like tinker with a bunch of systems, but not really change the gameplay. And I kind of hope they don't do that. I'm kind of on the same boat as you, where it's like, I see this as a big opportunity for them to go in and go, oh, well, healing might have spiraled a bit out of control. Like, when the game came out, Mercy was the best healer in the game, as you heal for, like, 50 per second. Now we've got, like, Moira, Ana, we've got Baptiste, all of whom can heal, like, AoE, better, bigger, way more healing going on. Barriers now, as we know in the current meta, have kind of spiraled out of control. Best barrier in the game when it came out was Reinhardt, 2,000 hit points, and then just, like, slowly decayed. Now we've got Orisa, now we've got Sigma, way more barriers, and Symmetra as well, of course, because her barrier is just up 24/7, it feels like in my games. And yeah, it's like a time for them to just go, oh, well, this didn't work, this didn't work, this did work. Okay, we can like tinker and maybe get back to some kind of cohesive vision for the game. Like, how do the devs picture how Overwatch plays? Does Overwatch look like that at the moment?
The thing I've got with this is they've built a massive hero cast, and when you talk, like, Overwatch has got this really powerful thing with it where people that don't play the game know the name of the heroes because they're so well publicized, they're so well designed as well, visually striking, all of them, so people know who the heroes are. So to me, it always seems crazy that they would just go like, okay, we're going to go for Overwatch 2, forget Overwatch. But they couldn't actually do that, I don't think, without causing massive damage and literally wasting a lot of effort. So this is where the whole idea of, well, Overwatch 2, maybe it actually isn't Overwatch 2, it's just a different way of playing Overwatch as we know now, but it's enough content for it to be a standalone game, but isn't really a standalone game, but it's just plugged into the Overwatch experience we've got now. And this is where the idea of not Overwatch 2, but like Overwatch insert subtitle here comes along. And maybe they do something like introduce a new faction. Maybe they do something like maybe we get 5 or 6 new heroes straight away in one drop, and that's a brand new faction with possible PvE story elements built into it if the leaks from Kotaku are to be believed. But what you said, Josh, is totally true. Overwatch, it's an interesting game right now. I've been saying this a lot more recently, where it doesn't really feel like an FPS game. Now you could say, well, Sty, back in the day, it was never really a true FPS game anyway, because you had barriers, you had all of the funky mechanics that Overwatch has got. But that's what gave Overwatch its charm. It's this mashup between FPS, MOBA, inspired by TF2. That's kind of what Overwatch is, arena, team arena, shooter style thing. That's kind of what it is, right? But as time's gone on, you get things like more barriers, as you said, Josh. You go back and you look at Reinhardt's original barrier, and you look at the game back when it came out. You look at the early competitive seasons, you look at what the meta was. It was quite simple, but there was a lot of space to play. As things change and new heroes come out, inevitably they have to get more complicated, they have to do different things, because we know Blizzard don't want to just keep releasing heroes with similar skills. I remember when Orisa came out and people were like, oh, she's just got like a graviton surge as a right click, like a little mini grab. What are you doing, Blizz? You're just copying abilities. What's this? Copy and paste if you ran out of stuff to do. And it's like, well, if you come out with a completely new game, right, then surely you could fix a lot of these issues. As you said, the barrier thing, I do agree, probably needs to be looked at. And maybe you could introduce new game modes, but I don't know. Like, the point of this video is, like, would you accept an Overwatch 2? If they straight up came up to you and went, right, Overwatch 2 is a thing, so Overwatch now is just a literal dead game. We're not going to look at this anymore. But Overwatch 2, yeah, because we've got to think here, right? We've got Overwatch League, and that's running next year. And the teams, when they bought into it, expecting it to be 3-year, like a program of 3 to 5 years or whatever it is. Well, I think it's meant to be 10 years, but I think there's like a 3-year guarantee. So you have to still have Overwatch, right, next year. And this is what's playing on the back of my head. And this is why I think the comp we've got now has to remain, right? But then I want to throw this out there, Josh, right? It's not just Blizzard, is it? It's Activision Blizzard.
Activision.
And what are they doing for the COD World League? I'm kind of throwing you under the bus here because I don't know if you know.
For
COD World League.
I believe that basically every year they're doing like a yearly release of COD as they are, and they're just moving it from game to game to game to game to game to game to game.
Yeah.
So imagine in Overwatch League, we know that next year they'll be still playing Overwatch in theory. Right, they're signed into like these 3-year contracts, as far as I'm aware, so they're locked in to play Overwatch. But if you're in the COD League, then you'll be playing Black Ops 5 and then, I don't know, Modern Warfare 19 or whatever the hell they're on, and then you'd just be like running through those games as they release, and you'd just be changing from game to game to game to game to game to game to game. So that's how it works with that. But with Blizzard historically, I mean, me and you have both been playing WoW Classic. Right?
Yeah.
Like, this is now a game that's been supported for over 15 years. Right? Like, WoW 2 doesn't exist. It's like they support, like, StarCraft 2 for ages. Like, StarCraft 2 still is going, technically. Heroes of the Storm, okay, yes, did lose some support, but, I mean, they're still releasing new stuff for it here and there. And it's, like, a completely different model. So with Overwatch 2, if it was, like, a complete blank slate, like, oh, this is just a new release, which I doubt it is, but if it is, like, I really hope if they're doing that, they come at it from the point of view of, like, with Overwatch, it feels like, we had some really good ideas, because it clearly worked, because, hey, we're still here, we're still talking about it, we still love the game, but these things didn't work. And so what we're going to do is we've taken our lessons from that, because this was our first-person shooter game, the first sort of game almost of this style. We now know so much more about how to build one. Let's make it even better, and let's make it way, way better. But I imagine if they do, they've got to, like, transplant the cast, right? You can't, like, oh, Tracer is now old and dead, or Soldier 76 fell down a well. Like, that can't happen. So, because those characters are so iconic, and it would be a shame to lose them. Like, there's so much community around them, there's so much, like, fan stuff around them. I'm not going to say there's so much Blizzard-written lore about them, because where's the Zenyatta lore? Jeff, please, you promised.
Well, it made me laugh when Jeff was like, yeah, so we basically had to invent Sigma because it was going to be Mauga, but we realized, well, actually, this just doesn't fit Mauga because he's a bit of like a bit of a meathead. So we need somebody a bit more intellectual. So yeah, let's just invent somebody. So I mean, that's crazy to me because you had all of the lore build up with Mauga. It's so prominent in the Batiste short story, and then it's just like, by the way, Sigma. What? It's just totally out of left field. But yeah, the thing I've got right is, look at the time frames. Yeah, look at next year. Look at BlizzCon this year. If they announce Overwatch 2,